The Hangman's Tree, the infamously named Hangman's Tree, or Kett's Oak as it is better known, is located on the road between Wymondham and Heatherset in Norfolk, England. It was symbolically chosen for the hanging of 9 rebels for the crime of treason. Why this tree? Because it was the meeting point where Robert Kett, leader of the Kett's rebellion, had given his first address to a huge gathering of people who went on to mount a glorious but ultimately failed insurrection on the fine city of Norwich. The year was 1549 and Norwich was England's second largest city. Though it seems eons ago, the social troubles of that time have a disturbingly familiar echo with those of the present day. On the weekend of July 6, rebels met in the nearby town of Wymondham during a festival marking the banned celebration of Thomas à Becket, a historical figure associated with resistance to royal authority. The very act of celebrating on this forbidden holiday created a climate of defiance against the authorities, lowering the emotional barrier to engage in direct action against landowners and their bothersome land enclosures. The rebels initially targeted land owned by Kett. He was a yeoman farmer with considerable acreage and several manors. He was a member of the class that the rebels were fighting against and had even enclosed land himself. But he decided to join their cause because he believed in the principle of justice for all. Kett went on to lead 16,000 men to Norwich, camping up on Mousehold Heath, which overlooked the city and offered a strategic stronghold. His council set up their own justice system under the Oak of Reformation, where they heard cases against the gentry and drafted a petition comprising 29 demands, the most prominent calling for an end to land enclosures. Their grievances encompassed unfair taxes, extortionate rents, and the concentration of power, social issues that remain as pertinent today as they were then. In Kett's time, more than 50% of the land was common. Today, that number stands at a miserly 3%. Back then, the country was running out of money and its supply had been expanded to pay for wars in Scotland and France, thereby causing inflation, which lowered living standards. In September 2025, UK money supply hit an all-time record of £32 trillion, bloated by extravagant, misguided and corrupt COVID-era policy alongside perpetual wars in the Ukraine and Middle East. At $60 billion, this year's UK military budget equates to roughly 44% of 2025's expected £137 billion budget deficit. Back then, Kett wanted rents restored to levels seen under the previous king. Today, property ownership is an unattainable dream for many. This generation, the future of England if you like, are obliged to pay extortionate rent, which rose by 33% since 2020, far outpacing inflation-adjusted wages, which fell slightly. Kett's rebellion was fomented by an unjust tax burden that largely fell on the shoulders of those least able to pay. Just like today, only the little people pay taxes, whilst those at the top with offshore structures incorporated in tax havens pay nothing. Kett presented his demands to the child King Edward VI and his Lord Protector Edward Seymour, the Duke of Somerset, who had previously overseen 2 commissions to investigate injustice of land enclosures. Just like those times, modern-day commissions afford a useful tool for politicians to kick contentious issues into the long grass. Because the rebellion ostensibly supported Somerset's reform agenda, the ill-fated rebels inadvertently assumed the Good Duke, as he was known, would view their cause in a benevolent light. That was a grave miscalculation. The Crown did in fact offer a pardon for the crime of treason, but Kett boldly rejected it on the grounds that the uprising was in accordance with the principles of the Commission, meaning that the treason had not been committed. In no mood for compromise, Kett's 16,000-strong farmers' army stormed Norwich on July 22nd. During a fierce fight that took place on Bishopsgate Bridge, the rebels overcame an army led by the Marquis of Northampton and took Norwich. The humiliating defeat and rejection of the pardon incensed Somerset and the Crown. They could ill afford to be seen by the nation as a feeble and ineffectual government, and opted to show a sign of strength by engaging a much more powerful 14,000 strong professional army under the command of the Earl of Warwick. The force critically included foreign mercenaries, individuals who wouldn't necessarily be vexed about killing their native countrymen. Today, the UK is a global centre for the highly secretive operations of private military security companies, otherwise known as PMSCs. Faced with a blockade, near starvation and an artillery barrage of sustained bombardment, it wasn't long before Kett's men became dispirited, deflated and demoralised. On August the 26th, another pardon was offered to any rebel that laid down arms, and perhaps not surprisingly, thousands took up the offer. Rather than wait to be starved or shelled into submission, Kett endeavoured to escape with his poorly trained and much reduced militia force of just 6,000. The exit route left them vulnerable to attack, as it took them into low open ground near the Tass River to a place called Dussindale or Death's Dale. Trapped between the river and rising ground, around 3,000 rebels were slaughtered on August the 27th, with almost no losses on the government side. After fleeing the battle scene, Kett was captured 2 days later and subsequently tried in London, where he was found guilty of high treason. On December the 7th, 1549, Robert Kett was hanged on public display from the walls of Norwich Castle using chains rather than rope to ensure that he would die slowly and painfully. On the same day, his brother William was hanged from the West Tower of Windham Abbey. What is perhaps most remarkable about this tumultuous period in English history is that social injustices remain as ubiquitous today as they were then. Economic insecurity, rising living costs, the concentration of power, the scarcity and unaffordability of land for housing, alongside the disproportionate burden of taxes on the poor, offer unsettling parallels to the gripes faced by millions today. Witness Kett's fight of 1549, feel the centuries collapse and align. Though rockets rise and cities gleam, the same old fault lines crack our dream. Capital scorns our community, its power trades with impunity. The system feasts on common good, integrity's table left bare, misunderstood. History never repeats, it's true, yet seems to rhyme with altered hue.